Welcome to the No BS Short-Term Rental Podcast, an unfiltered look into the global vacation and short-term rental industry.
I'm Mateo Bradford.
And I'm John Stokinger.
And this is our podcast. We bring the right people to the table at the right time, giving you an inside view and take on the short-term rental industry like no other podcast can.
Morning, Mateo. How are you?
John, you know the answer to that question. I am fantastic. Another bright day here with you.
Another with me?
Yeah,
with me. Great guest. We'll dive right into it. We've been BSing a little bit, even though it's no BS. We've been BSing. I'm excited to introduce them. I'm looking at my screen. I already forgot. It is season 3, episode 19. Excited. We're what is it? This is the second one after VRMA. We're still kind of coming down off of that crazy, but I traveled for 10 days straight from Miami. Like I didn't go home for Miami all the way to VRMA. And then I took 2 full days off. I think I hibernated, as best long as I could. And then this past week was crazy catch up. I bet our guests, you're also playing catch up, but I'm excited. And talking about VRMA here, we have the winners of the VRMA, the Property Management Company of the Year, with us today. So without further ado, I would love to introduce both Hunter and Ginger of Beachball Properties of Gulf Shores in Orange Beach, Alabama. Welcome to the show, y'all.
Welcome.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. Did I introduce you correctly? Like, is it both Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, or is it one or the other?
A lot of times we call it Alabama Gulf Coast because it's all encompassing.
Right.
Regard Beach are separate zip codes, separate mayors, but they're the same beach. And then we also have the unincorporated 20 something miles of Fort Morgan, kind of more the quiet, more desolate. Bring your dogs. There's not much activity out there, so you can get away from it all if you want, or you can be right here in the thick of it.
I traveled a few times down to your beautiful coast for different companies. I love the area. I love taking the ferry. What's that? What's that island?
Dolphin Island.
Dolphin Island. I've head over there. I was stuck on Dolphin Island once when a car crash happened on the bridge, and it took out a telephone pole, and it was for hours. And then I was going to take the ferry, but because the car crash happened, the ferry line was way backed up and we couldn't get out. So I was there for hours. And I was trying to get over to Gulf Shores, but I had to drive all the way up through Mobile or however, up and around. And I didn't get into 10 or 11 that night. It was pretty fun.
It is crazy how close Fort Morgan to Dolphin Island is. But yet, how far away it really is by the water by Mobile Bay.
You get on the ferry, it's a long way. It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I bet. Thanks so much for joining us. We're super excited to have the. How does it feel? I could see, if those are watching the YouTube, there's a glow. There's a glow, and there's also the patriotic feel. You got the flag there, which is exciting. Veterans Day, what Thursday? This Thursday?
Friday.
Friday. Okay. I get them mixed up, but this will come out the day before Veterans Day. Are you a veteran?
No, I'm not. So the story, but both my grandfathers are, and a lot of my uncles are. So the story behind this flag, a lot of people don't know it, but there's a flag program with the United States that you can request from your local senator or representative a flag to be flown either on a specific date or just a flag that's literally flown over the U.S. Capitol. And I had that one flown on my birthday on 2020 because that was the year Sally and COVID and everything else. And I'd heard about the program, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna check in on this. Literally, you go to your senator's page, and most of them have a tab that says flag, and you just go to the request. I figured, hey, this is going to go into some trouble. I'm never going to hear from anybody. Cross your fingers. I'm getting emails from the rep's assistant like, hey, you want this? You sure that's the right size? Well, I'm like, hey, want to let you know the flag flew yesterday. They're getting it all packaged. I was like, this is way kind of over the top that they really care about these flags. But they fly it up for about 5 minutes. It flies over the Capitol and then comes down and they package it up and send it to you. So I'm very patriotic. I'm very America the free. So that's why I like to have that back there. So it makes it good for a podcasting or YouTubing background, or when people walk in my office, they're like, why? They're like blown away by the big flag.
We also
great story.
pride ourselves on hiring veterans. I think we have
four veterans.
4 on staff right now. So
Nice.
yeah, we just like America. We're resilient, and we made it through COVID and Sally. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's you guys got nailed with Sally.
there you go.
It's well, as a veteran, it's I appreciate that. We all, I think it's cool, especially the hiring veterans. It's needed and it's necessary. And, I don't think all veterans love being told, thank you for your service. But at the same time, it's, I love that you all are doing that. Talk to us about, like, how the hell did you guys get into this space? Like, how do you come into, I wouldn't say, looking at, how do you stumble into vacation rentals?
That's a great question, and it may be a little bit of a long-winded answer, but it kind of all goes back to both of our backgrounds. So my background is my dad is a general contractor. He's out of Selma, Alabama. He opened up his company, Rayco, when I was 13 years old. So at 13 years old, I heard he was having to go to work. I was going to the shop and pushing a broom and helping carry materials. And it was a very family organization. Well, his plan was, if I can get up to 25 employees and work in these 6 paper mills, all about 30 minutes from our house, I'll be a success. Well, lo and behold, here he is, nearly 25 years later. He's probably got 300 employees in 6 different states running right now.
Right.
So it blew up, but I got to see that transition and my parents and what they went through, and learning about balance sheets and hiring and firing and drug testing and all these things that traditional education is not going to teach you if you're not right there, boots on the ground. So plan for me was go to the University of Alabama, graduate, get that piece of paper, come back, work for my dad. And this was all around 2008. So we're in a recession. The construction company's not doing as well. I am dead weight on the company. So there's just a lot of kind of some angst there. So my dad sends me down to Mobile, Alabama. He's like, we got to go find some work. So he sends a 22-year-old down to Mobile to go find work and bring it back. And all I brought back was a wife. Yeah, that's the joke, that we brought back a wife from Mobile. So at that time,
I mean, there's worse things.
And not just any wife. We're gonna get back. We're gonna get into Ginger. Ginger, you're gonna tell your story too, because it's not just any wife.
That's right, not just any wife.
Well,
So
you got a lottery ticket, and
that's
cashed
right.
out.
That's right. Actually,
and maybe her perspective is a little different. Maybe it isn't.
So guys, last night I was paid probably the sweetest compliment I've ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the Saints game last night with a buddy of mine. And we're going over to one of his buddy's apartments, and we walk in, and the buddy knows me just strangely through Facebook, and he's got another buddy there. And I get there, and I really have to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, Tyler, sorry, where's your bathroom? I got to go. So as I'm walking down the level, he goes, yeah, that's Hunter. He has a really hot one. And I was like,
that was the introduction.
That was the introduction. So I was like, I could take this so many ways. I could either be like, am I chopped liver because she's a hot wife, or is that say that I'm an incredible guy that I, drew in a hot wife? I don't know, but I thought I was very, very tickled about it. But as you say, getting to Ginger. So I meet Ginger. Ginger's on presidential scholarship at South Alabama in Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe one day we'll tell you the story of how we ended up getting together and getting married. But let's just say it involved Jägermeister.
A Jaeger machine.
And a Jaeger machine.
Oh, dang. Ice cold.
So anyhow, so we get together, and she transfers to the University of Alabama, which is closer to Selma. And tell them how it went from there.
Yeah. So, graduated from the University of Alabama, and actually the tornado that hit Tuscaloosa hit right when we were supposed to be graduating, and we couldn't walk. But anyway, we did end up walking in August of the next fall. And then I was going to Ole Miss for law school. So we moved to Oxford.
What you did that summer though, in between college and law school?
I'm the lifeguard at Waterville. We moved down here for the summer because Tuscaloosa was completely torn up. We didn't have power for over a month. And I was like, we can't live here. So Hunter's parents.
I remember that. I remember
it was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. Hunter's parents were nice enough to say, hey, we have a condo. Y'all just move to the beach, and so y'all can move out of the apartment and everything gets fixed. So we did that. I was a lifeguard at Waterville, but anyway, we ended up at Ole Miss for law school and had a great 3 years there. And I got a job after I graduated with a judge clerking at circuit court down here, and did that for almost a year. And then I was recruited by a firm one of the top insurance firms in the state of Alabama, and I did insurance defense for going on 3 years. But it's funny, things work out. So about 6 months before I deported the firm, Hunter had this opportunity to purchase a small book of business, and we were like, we just need to do it because he was a financial advisor and he was getting tired of like selling these annuities to these old ladies. It's like, I feel like I need to take a shower every day after I come home.
Oh man.
Yeah. And so we were like, let's just do it.
I came from that world, Hunter. We'll talk about that later over a drink.
Yeah. It's and we missed the whole point too. I sold life insurance for a minute. Like when I took the leap of faith and like moved to her to Oxford, I sold life insurance. I told her, if you can sell death, you can sell anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I got all the Merrill Lynch, and then I got all the Regions Bank, and I moved to Mobile because I knew she had the opportunity down there. And there were many days I came home, was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm selling these annuities. And of course, that was when interest rates were like bottom of the barrel, 2%. You're like trying to get people to sign up their money for 7 years, 2%. Your bosses, like y'all remember the old trading places, maybe sell.
Oh no, yeah. Look, I got securities. I got securities license to get people out of annuities, actually. And so we'll have a conversation about that at some point in time. But Ginger, so like, talk to us about like your experience in like the law, like in being married. You're married to an attorney. You're a financial advisor. How the hell did y'all get here? Like, I get the foundation, like I get the skill set, but that's a wild left turn, right? Like in space.
It is. So Hunter, we had some family friends that were working at a company called Mountain to Beach Vacation Rentals and Sales, and the owners of that company were, absentee owners. They weren't really working yet. They'd gotten bored with it. And so these friends reached out to us and said, we think they're about to sell. Would y'all be interested? And Hunter at that time was like, yeah, we're interested. I'm tired of doing this bank stuff. And so we just dove in and
let's be clear. It sounded like a leap of faith, but I also had a nice safety net, right? I've got a lawyer that's making good money that even if this vacation thing doesn't really take off, like, I can always fall back, right? Well, tell them what happened next, Ginger.
Or so we thought, yeah.
Right.
So like within 6 months that my firm came to me, and there was another associate who was a female. She'd been out. She gave birth to triplets. And so they did not expect her to come back. They had hired me basically thinking I was going to take her position and she was going to make an exit from the firm. And turns out she did come back, and she'd been there long enough to make partner. And so they came to me and said, we really appreciate your work. You're a hard worker, but there's just not going to be enough, business for both of you to stay. And we owe her loyalty. She's been here longer. I get it. It was hard, but we got it. So,
it was a thank you, but we're going to move on. And now you all have to make this work.
Yeah.
There's no safety net.
Right.
Yeah. You have to make this work. You have to figure it out. And it's our, from looking from the outside in, these property managers and these success stories in our industry, it's those that are forced to make it work and have a hardship in the beginning, or the ones that like truly, like muck through that shit, if you don't mind me saying, like in the beginning, figure it out,
right,
and build that solid foundation. Like, tell me a little bit more about when you acquired. Was it Beachball when you acquired it, or did you change the name? And how many? You said it was small. Like, what was the size during this acquisition? Like, where were you at? Like, what were they doing? What was the size of the company? What were they doing? Revenue at that time? A little bit, if you don't mind diving into that.
It was called Mountain Beach Vacation Rentals. They had 20 properties, and just being honest, in those 20 properties, as soon as the sale happened, 6 bolted. They already saw writing on the wall, and they're like, we're not here for the next round. And the 14 that stayed, I'd be honest, there's 4 or 5 that are still in the program, but out of those original, like 9 of them were maybe viable products. And I think the business first year did 99,000. We didn't quite do 100,000 in sales. I mean, it was a terrifying time. And we sold our house, we sold our boat. We cashed out our 401ks that we built up.
All the money that we had at that time, which, to be honest, it wasn't a ton because we were young professionals. So we were like, we got to put it in here. We've just got to make this work.
And woe is me. We were fortunate. My dad had a condo. He was like, y'all can stay in the condo. He let us do that. We were about to sell Ginger Ford, just carpool, just so we had money. And that was playing with my dad. I was like, all right, look, I get it. Y'all are committed. Y'all are committed, but like, don't sell your wife's car. Like, if you need a couple $100 to like buy gas, like I'll give you a little money. But like, that's truly like the way we were, is even though that like, I've got this even bigger safety net parachute with my dad and could probably go back to work for him anytime, I've chosen not to go that path.
It's hard. I hate, me personally, I don't like asking for favors. Even if it's family's favors, there's like I don't want to owe anyone anything. There's a lot. I mean, this is me personally. I know Teo is the same way. It's like, we don't necessarily want to go ahead, whether someone wants to cash in on that, and usually they don't. It's more like, hey, we got you, your family, we're going to take care of you. Just that over your shoulder, and just having that in the back of your mind that, you didn't do it on your own. That's hard sometimes. Like, I love building it, and from the, and I appreciate that in entrepreneurship.
And you've got to think too, John, of the $100,000 we made, we're paying one person's salary. We're paying, we're paying marketing. We're paying all these different things. There was so much scraps left behind. So this is kind of, I guess, where the genius of, so we were out on the beach, and we kind of recognized that there was not really a bad connotation around town, but it was a complicated name. We didn't manage anything in the mountains. The old owners did have a couple of cabins in Gatlinburg, and they used the number 2. And, that's like a cardinal rule. You never use a number because people don't know whether type of 2 or TWO or TO or TO. So, we knew all these like marketing rules, and Ginger and I were pretty sharp on that. So we were kicking around names. And I've got a professor at the University of Alabama that still has me come back and speak to classes and talk about entrepreneurship and whatnot. I called him up and I said, Dr. D, I'm struggling with naming my company, and I've got some buzzwords, and I was like, I want something cool like Uber or Monster. And he was like, now this is where we'll get real. He's like, shut the fuck up. Right? He was like, quit being, quit overthinking this thing. He's like, give me some ideas you got or whatever, and I'll do some research and do that. So one of the buzzwords was beach ball. I had all these sticky notes, up on my wall or whatnot. And he calls me back and he goes, I really think you need to go with beach ball. And I'm like, really? I don't know. It's childish. It's beach ball. It just doesn't sound cool. And again, that's when he says, shut the fuck up, Hunter. And then he goes, close your eyes for a minute. So I closed my eyes and he says, beach ball. I said, okay. He said, what came to mind when I said that? And I said, a little boy and little girl chasing the beach ball down the beach. He goes, what are you selling? I'm like, oh my God. And I get chill bumps now. I mean, just it all comes back to me.
Well, and everyone knows what a beach ball looks like too. Like, you think of beach ball, like everyone has it. It's the same colors. It's like your logo is iconic. Like it's simple, but yet it represents exactly what you all are building.
Right. Yeah, and there's no negative connotation with it. Like, it's like no one's like thinking beach ball and like flinching and going into the fetal position. Like, no, I don't want to think about that. It's like exactly what you thought, right? Like, it's vacation, it's the beach, it's having fun, it's
young families, it's families with young children, and that's
ding, 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 ding,
exactly. And y'all get a kick out of this. One of the names we had kicked around was Seaweed Vacation.
Seaweed.
And the reason why was because it gets your attention. You're like, what? Seaweed? Huh? But we just
kind of like it.
For like, if you Google seaweed, there's just nothing positive about it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like we can't overcome the internet's negativity.
Right.
So anyway, then we were like, okay, well, do we do beach ball vacation rentals? Do we do beach ball vacations? Is it real estate sales? What we do? So I just typed in GoDaddy Beachball Properties, available for $199. I was like, purchase. So if you can imagine, we own beachballproperties.com, .org, everything. We own beach ball rentals. Like I think we own over like 100 domains and bought up all the beach ball you can imagine. Because first of all, nobody else in the country had beach ball anything, which to me blew my mind. And secondly, I don't want anybody to ever.
That's awesome.
That's insane.
There's so many different things that, we're dabbling in for side gigs and different things that we're doing. And I'm constantly looking up URLs and it's always a struggle. Like what can you get? What do you not? But the fact that no one else is using beach ball in anything that's kind of baffling to me. And it was super smart to go ahead and snag them all up because there will be no other.
Right.
Whatever you got to do, pay, $20 a year per you, whatever. It's a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things, and not have
and beach ball. There was actually an opportunity to buy beachball.com, but they want like $35K for that. I'm like, I don't know that $35,000 just to short. Domain,
you are big property management company of the year now. So, maybe, if strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, might be where, if you get beachball.com, now you've got the entire beach ball market cornered.
That's true.
So
maybe
nobody,
so
it's like the beach ball mafia. You want beach ball in your line? You got to, what do you want for this?
Like we bought beach ball apparel. Like we just bought that domain, just like in case one day, like I bought these PRR shirts and put the beach ball on it, like you would see the Polo logo or the Golden Fleece or, anything like that. I mean, we're branders for sure. So the next step is, okay, we need a logo, right? So, and we're broke, don't have any money. We're calling all these companies and they're like $1,000 retainers or $1,500 retainers just to even talk to us about our logo. And my GoDaddy rep, as we're buying all this, he's like, hey, do you have a logo? I'm like, no, we're looking at this. He's like, well, we got a logo production company. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, if you pay us $300, you give you 3 rounds of 3, you give us some input on what you like, and we'll, spit out, some designs for you. And then if it goes beyond the 3 rounds of 3, then you pay like an extra $125. So they landed actually on the second round. We had given them a couple ideas. The funny thing was they had give us a couple with like BP on it. And if y'all remember the BP oil spill, that's an extremely dirty word down here. So we don't use BP, none of that in any of our, logoing or branding or anything like that. So we were like, no, let's get that out of there. And then they came up with the logo and we were just like blown away with it. And of course we got the tagline, come have a ball at the beach. And then our marketing company that helps us do all of our t-shirts and giveaways and everything like that, they actually for free redesigned the back. So we've got one logo that's I'm trying to think backwards, it's the beach ball, then it says it. And then the other one's like the beach ball with the wording around it. So that way we can multifaceted depending on what type of marketing material we're printing on or using. We have multiple logos that still resonate with people because it's all, around the ball.
I love the logo. I love the origin, how you came into it. Talk to us about how, when did you realize that obviously you're getting some really great wins here. You're got a great name, a great logo. You came in at 20 properties. You quickly were down to 14. When did you know you actually had something? Like tell us about that feeling. When did you know that you're like, all right, this shit's actually going to work? We're at 50 properties now, or wherever that tier is. Or you're like, oh, we're making a go of this. Ginger, when did you know?
Yeah, for me, it was not until we reached 100 properties that I feel like we're really doing something down here, because the Alabama Gulf Coast market, I'm not sure the exact term of art, but everyone talks about how it's kind of a dinosaur market. Like there's been names that have been down here since the 80s.
Yeah.
And they have
Youngstone Coast, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to sit here and list your competitors, but yeah, we all know the names.
Right. And so I was like, will we ever be able to break this? Like, we're just Ginger and Hunter. Like, are we ever going to be able to like get part of that market share? And I'll tell you, like, we just came up with these ideas that we have beach ball stickers. And so, with only 14 properties, there wasn't a ton to do around the office when we first started. So what we did was we got cheap marketing stuff. So these stickers, we went to the VRMA, we met the bartenders. We went to Pirates Cove, we met the bartenders there.
Right.
Stickers their places because that's, what you do at those places, they're bars, and they encourage that. And so we started telling everybody our story and that we were building this business, and we passed out beach balls to kids, and then their parents would come up and thank us for the beach balls. And all about that same time, I started a Facebook group called What's Happening Orange Beach, Alabama. And it started getting some real traction. And right now we have over 50,000 members. So that was like the digital marketing or the social media marketing is how we were able to do so much without a lot of money. I noticed in our market that these real estate agents would, do Facebook Lives or do these video walkthroughs of these properties, and nobody in the vacation rental space was doing that. I'm like, people want to see where they're going to go vacation. And so Facebook Live now is somewhat, not as popular, as died up a little bit, and TikTok and all these other platforms. But at that time, Facebook Live was like, the algorithm was hitting. And so
when was that exactly? Just so we, we can timeline this a little bit.
Yeah, 2017, 2018.
Okay, cool.
So that, we just did all the free marketing that we could do. But when we got to 100 properties, I was like, we got this.
And our original goal was 100 properties in 5 years. And we hit 100 properties
in under 3.
Yeah, 2.5, 2 3/4 or so. So then we upped the ante up to 200 properties about 5 years. And we would have made that, but last year, 2021, when the big sell-off happened and everybody was selling so much, the vacation rental industry, when it goes into the sales, it could come back. It could not come back. I mean, agents can manipulate or move or, they have other managers or whatnot. But we tipped it not long after the 5. And our new goal now is actually we want to be at 500 properties by the end of 25.
I love it.
It's interesting. Well, but it's interesting to go back to also what you were talking about, Ginger, about the market being antiquated and it being just kind of what it's normally been, the sleepy vacation rental kind of towns. We talk about the movement in the industry to professionalize, to do new things and exciting things in marketing and others. Did you see your impact, not just to your business, but to the community around you? Did what you guys were doing and employing make a mark in the market in terms of even your competitors? Did you look and all of a sudden people are doing videos now and people are, doing the things that you were doing? Because again, I got this watching Ngati's presentation, David Ngati's presentation. Everyone likes to say, the rising tide lifts all boats, but clearly you were the forefront. So you were beyond what came after was what elevated the level in the market, right? So talk to me about how did that feel? That had to feel good to see oh, shit, look at what we're doing. Oh shit, look, imitation is the biggest form of flattery, right?
And Teo says, sleepy town, but you also have huge companies, and I won't say your list. I mean, I want to talk about one of the acquisitions of one of those companies a little bit. And but there's huge companies that have thousands and thousands of properties in your market as well. So definitely dive into this.
Yeah. So we definitely, the word I would use, Mateo, is disruptor. We definitely disrupted the market down here. So, I mentioned my dad got, condos. We've had other friends that had condos. And the one thing we always heard was they get nickeled and dimed. Not only am I paying my percentage rate, every time they send a maintenance guy down there to open the door, it's $50 surcharge. And they may come away with nothing. And they were charging $15 plus materials to change air filters and light bulbs. And the maintenance program became almost just as profitable as the rental side of it. Well, when we were small and hungry and fighting, we kind of built our company in a way that I said, we can not nickel and dime our owners. So that was the thing we hammered when we were walking into a condo and talking to somebody going, well, she's a lawyer and I used to be a financial advisor and I know we only have 20 properties, but hear me out. Right. But it was we're not going to nickel and dime you. We're not going to charge you any of these additional fees. What you see is what you get. This is it, cut and dry. And nobody outright told us that we pissed anybody off or we caused any issues, but almost every company down here now has adopted no nickel and diming. They may charge for the light bulb, but not for the maintenance materials. There's one particular company here in town. I won't mention it. They can research, but for years, their management rate's been about 10% higher. And
it's Brett Robinson. They're the giant down here forever.
Well, I was going to mention them. That was it was there was Brett Robinson, you got Meyer, which is no longer. And that's a question I want to ask you is did you throw a little party when Vacasa acquired Meyer? I don't know.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And the other thing is, Vacasa's got its issues, and this isn't a podcast to beat up on Vacasa, but
in full transparency, there's a lot that Mateo and I really like about Vacasa. So full transparency, it's different, it's different. It's for different people. It's different business models. So we'll never beat up on Vacasa either in that way.
It inspires
but I want to know your
experience.
We want to know exactly how, every market's different.
Right.
When Meyer was acquired by Vacasa, you mentioned shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
But why is that? What is it specifically in your market? Is it so easy in your eyes to go ahead and get these homeowners to switch over to you all compared to?
So the thing I would say is, and I use this term and Ginger rolls her eyes on it, but it's the South and it's a hug and a handshake. Even during COVID, it's still a hug and a handshake. And we use that on our marketing materials. Like when you join the Beachball program, you're part of the family. It's a hug and a handshake. Where Meyer was already getting to that point where they were losing a lot of clients.
Did they just get too big?
They got too big. And then companies like us coming in and disrupting, right? I mean, people are getting tired of nickel and diamond. So I'm going to leave here. I'm going to try these new guys. And you've got a lot of real estate agents that are doing it on the side. So just the internet was the great equalizer. Really, Instabook back in 2016 to me is like the moment. Like when we decided, like, it was 2017. Like Mountain Beach was not doing Instabook, and I converted as Beachball to Instabook. But we can get into that later. But Meyer owners were already starting to get iffy with Meyer. And then when it's like this purchase of this company, Vacasa, and my manager is now gone, and I don't know who to call, and I call into Ori. It was too much. And then there's some owners that were part of Kaiser. And Kaiser got purchased by Wyndham years ago, but they still kept the Kaiser name. They kept the employees. So it was really Kaiser just with a Wyndham, subtitle, right? Well, a lot of those clients have said, hey, because it wasn't so bad, but when they brought Meyer in, it just fell apart. And I mean, they went to like 2,000 properties down here, and then COVID hit, and then they laid everybody off down to 3. So like nobody could get anybody on the phone. Owners are freaking out. And everybody was sitting back like catcher's mitt, just catching these properties falling off. And I estimate that probably close to 600 will probably swap over the next 6 months, probably from Vacasa in our local market. But
how does a company, like, do you think, and this is, I'm just curious for, again, you're not giving away secret sauce, everyone, but in your eyes, Ginger and Hunter, how a company like Vacasa or a company like Brett Robinson or, a large company in your market, how do they become more competitive or fix their faults? Like, and I know they're already listening anyway. So it's not like they're not, I know you're not necessarily worried about it. And if you don't want to answer this, that's fine. But like, how does a company like Vacasa come in and gain trust in your market?
Well, in our market specifics, based on like what we've done is community marketing. Like they don't put anything into the community. They don't do sponsorships. Their general managers don't go to chamber events.
You don't see a presence. Like I can't name a single person that I know I have a pretty large circle that works for Vacasa. I don't know anybody that works there anymore. I had a very good friend, Kimberly Ray. She's worked in the vacation rental industry for 20 plus years, and she was the general manager of Vacasa Orange Beach, and she left to work for the chamber. But she was the only person that I knew that worked there. And I have a pretty, like I said, wide circle. So they're just not, you don't feel like they're a member. Their company is invested in Orange Beach or Gulf Shores. Like we are. You see us at everything. We're all over.
Right. And they're an easy target to pick on too. I mean, down in the South, I mean, like one of the things like we still have when people call, it's a live person answers the phone. And actually my people that are customer service reps usually have another task they do. So they're not necessarily high level management, but they can make certain decisions on the fly. And I've kind of got guidelines for what, you can and can't do, or what needs to go to managers or whatnot. Like people tell us how much they appreciate that they know they're going to get somebody on the phone, especially our owners. I don't want to press 1 for this and 2 for this and 3 for this. And that's what you get when you get with Vacasa. And I mean, Brett Robinson, you call Brett Robinson right now, you're going to get a call center that's going to direct you to where you need to go.
I think it's interesting because thinking about the question that John just asked you, Ginger, I'm sorry, I'm with your husband on this. The answer to that question is what you put forward before that. It's the Southern hospitality aspect, right? And you all having the ability to give your customers, your employees, the community, that feeling of you are with them, you are a part of them, right? Like that is the difference. And, as someone who I live in Atlanta, so the South is a new thing for me, like for what it's good and what it's bad, but that there's a genuine nature about Southern hospitality that I think, take the Southern part out, it's hospitality, right? And at the end of the day, when you scale, whether it's, when you hear about the issues with Picasso or companies becoming a certain size, right, within that space, what's the part that falls off? It's always hospitality. It's not getting a person on the phone. It's not in your interaction with them. You feel like you're being taken care of, valued, right? Like all of the things that a warm handshake and a promise gives you, right? That's the connection that I hope that you guys are able to, as you grow and scale, never lose, because that always seems to be the challenges with these businesses as they grow. They may have humble beginnings, but as you grow and scale, how do you keep that and keep your business?
To Ginger's point though, as well, like the boots on the ground, for homeowner acquisition, it's paramount. Being able to be in the chamber and to be in, and you all are involved in a ton of different things. And I'd love to chat about that. Actually, it's a pretty transition. Like, let's talk about how you all, you're at 200 plus right now, right? You're at that nice mark, and now you got your sights set on 500, but at 500, now you're getting into some of these larger company problems. So how do you not lose it? And, you're very involved in different things and in different membership. Let's chat about that. And how are you going to scale and not become the ones that you're so hard to fight against and gain traction. And you are Property Management Company of the Year. Congratulations. But how do you keep that going?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and something we're going to have to continue to figure out as we grow, because there is problems that come along with scaling your business. Hunter, what do you think that we need to do?
So one thing I'm a big proponent on, and some of your listeners probably heard it, y'all probably heard it, but Culture Index, CI. We were introduced to Culture Index by Brooke at Ventori probably 6 months or so ago. Everybody likes to know their personality, right? It's like a brain hack. Like it's almost like self-fulfilling prophecy, right? They tell you what you're supposed to be. So Brooke's like, hey, I want y'all, fill this thing out. And if you read his book, 0 to 500, he talks about trailblazers, persuaders, and rainmakers. And those are like the 3 top people that just really just make it happen. Well, Ginger's a trailblazer and I'm a persuader. So as a persuader, as a trailblazer, she's, black and white, wins and losses, see, kill, go, right? Always moving forward. I'm the persuader. I'm the one, I'm very autonomous. I'm very visionary. I can convince people of my vision, but, some of our faults is we're both very impatient people as well. We're very impatient and we're not very detail oriented. So a lot of times, Ginger and I, we see the vision and we can convince our team to go with the vision, but then sometimes we're very impatient and we're not really worried about the details. So what we do know, one of the key factors is probably over the next year to 2 years, we're going to have to bring in not necessarily a third partner in the company, but bring in some, a high level CEO type person that's more of a architect, more of a doesn't get down the weeds thing, very detailed, very autonomous. Hey, this is how I want the culture in my company to run. Go with it. So anybody that hires on, we do the CI index on, we look at them and we judge that on whether they will kind of fit with us, fit within what position will be. We've had 2 or 3 employees that we brought them in for one thing, recognized the skill set, shifted them. But a lot of that comes with Ginger and I's involvement. And I think that's what happens when you get in a big company, that the CEO doesn't know who the person at Phoenix 5 that is at or Phoenix 4 that counter. They didn't train them, they didn't meet them, they didn't go to the index with them. They don't know anything about them. Where my goal is to try to scale this while I know everything about my employees. And I think, and we run things a little bit lean and mean too. We don't just hire to hire them. We hire people with specific skill sets to do specific jobs. And you're going to wear 2 or 3 hats at Beachball. You're not just going to sit there and say, not my problem, not my job. It's a very team. And I'll segue into this. We actually had an employee one time. She worked for us for about a month to 6 weeks. And she came to us, said she was resigning, and we were shocked. We thought she loved it here. She was young. She was very vibrant, thought she was a good fit. So we did kind of an exit interview with her. We're like, well, why are you leaving? She says, look, you guys, you and your team, what y'all built here, are very committed to what you do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, at 5 o'clock, I want to go home and not think about work. And I don't want to think about work till I get into the office at 9 o'clock. And your office is just, you're all 24/7. And a lot of that comes from we hire the kind of people that are like us, and they know that Ginger and I will be 24/7 going. So they almost feel like they've got to go with us to be part of that journey.
That's hard. I get it. I wish I need to.
Entrepreneurship doesn't have office hours.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, and I try to go ahead and turn it off certain times, and then and I get an idea in the middle of the night. And I'm like, coming up, like, it's hard. But Ginger, tell us to expand on how you all are differentiating and how you're going to keep going. Tell us about some of your involvement locally and how you're setting up this foundation to build upon.
All right. So the biggest thing we're going to be involved in this year is the American Heart Association has an Art for Heart Gala. It's one of the biggest fundraisers in our area. And I've been involved with the American Heart Association now for going on 4 years, serving on an executive leadership team. But this year we are the proud presenting sponsor and chairs for the event. Awesome. It's going to be April 15th at Coastal. If anybody needs a trip to the beach, perfect excuse to go.
So Southern John Coastal is owned by the same people that own VRMA.
Okay.
And they went in a partnership with the city, and they bought 800 feet shoreline, and 400 of it's for the city with a pavilion. And then they're putting in a bar and a green space and a restaurant. And this will be like the first big major event at this side bar. So it's going to be cool.
So it's an art event. So you'll be hosting like artists and auctions and things like that.
Yes. So it's going to be a huge silent auction. Like, one of the major things that was won last year was a yacht trip on a 92-foot boat.
Okay.
It's auctioned
off. 92. Okay. You couldn't get any bigger.
It's actually John McGinnis. I'll give him a shout out if you ever listen to this. I doubt he will, but he's one of the owners of VRMA, and he's so generous. And this actually is allowing us to do the event at Coastal this year, and he's providing all of the liquor and event space free of charge, donated.
Wow.
So,
awesome. We'll definitely give him a shout out for sure. Yeah,
we are really excited about that event. But we also do other things. Like, we have a great partnership with the Wharf in Orange Beach. We're the presenting sponsor for the Kids Confetti Drop on New Year's Eve. This past weekend, we hosted a sandcastle competition called Sandcastle Shindig at the VRMA, where local businesses competed building sand sculptures, and we raised over $3,000 to play local children. But that's, part of our mission or our vision as company owners is to be completely invested in our community and to also build community. And again, that's one of the things that has differentiated us. It's important to have that culture and that community around you. So you have those people to lift you up. Like, just for example, the day we won the VRMA award, our PR girls sent out press releases, and it was sent to the city of Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. And the mayor of Orange Beach called me on my phone in the airport and congratulated us and said, we would love to have y'all the next town hall meeting, want y'all to be able to present the award, and we want to give y'all a spotlight. So just to have that support from our mayor and our community has been huge for us.
Well, it's pretty amazing to see, your story is pretty amazing from, 14 actually, to over 200 in the short amount of time, and where you're going. Your goals are pretty, they're definitely obtainable. We encourage you to keep doing it the way you're doing it, because it's, and it's going to be hard as hell. Every 100 gets harder. And then you're gonna hit that 500 mark. Then it's gonna be 750, and then 1,000, and it's like, and then that's where most, after that 500 marker, that's when most lose it. So how do you keep it from there without losing that personal touch? And if anyone could do it, you all can do it. I mean, that's why you all won the award. I have a question, I guess, for you all, or what are people saying to you? I missed the award presentation at VRMA. I was running around like chicken with a head cut off. What are people saying about you winning the award, or why do you feel, not like the text of why you won it, like why do you feel you obviously you deserve it, but why do you feel you got it?
The quote you hear all the time is like, even when we won it, we still feel like imposters in the race, right? Like, we still because somebody at VRMA asked us, they were like, so you're the biggest company in Orange Beach, right? And I'm like, actually, we're like 5th or 6th. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So like here, like, we're the 6th largest company. And yeah, like, we made a splash or whatnot. And obviously we were doing a lot of good things. like we go to VRMA and we're meeting, like Southern Comfort, Cabin Rentals, and Blue Ridge, and what all they're doing, like, y'all are freaking amazing. And then we back Costco and meeting those guys and what they've been able to accomplish and doing it across country lines. And
shout out to CJ, shout out to
Dan, so it's like you meet all these companies, you're like, y'all are all just as deserving as we are, but like, it's the holistic thing of, what all we do, and that we're relentless and we work hard and we do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And like, again, the imposter syndrome, we get that, but then a lot of those guys were asking us like, oh, y'all do that. That's amazing. So like, it kind of made us feel like rock stars, but it just, again, the emotions were so all over the place.
Well, I sat on a panel with some of the guys that we mentioned. It was, the panel was called 928 New Properties in 2022. And when I was asked, I was like, I don't know if I should be up here with these guys, but and then I started to think about like, yes, like we've done something great and we broke into a market that a lot of people call impenetrable, and like we've done it, and we don't need to feel like imposters anymore. We need to own the success and have our moment, but at the same time, stay humble and stay involved with what has made us successful in the first place, which is giving back to the community and building a community and making the people that, come and vacation with us feel special. We call them beach ballers. Like we have a term for our guests, beach ballers, and our owners. And one of the things that we did when we first got down here, we gave out swag bags, reusable grocery totes with our beach ball logo to have stress balls and pins and everything in them. And no other company was doing that at the time. Well, who doesn't want to go to their vacation rental and get a little gift bag? Like that's the extra touch. And we did that for every property, even the ones that, weren't the Taj Mahal, that were across the street from the beach, wouldn't, run down, that have been there since the 80s. We did that. And I think that, has made people feel special and want to vacation with us again.
Yeah. Well, for me, it makes perfect sense from having met you and knowing that in this industry, professionalism isn't necessarily the number of units you manage. It is how you manage what you have. And it's what you do with what you got. And from the minute you and I met, Hunter, they should have gave you the best dressed award too, because the red jacket was killing it. And we're going to get that chain done so we can wear that award around your neck, because I've never seen anyone walking around like you earned that award. And the pride that I saw in your face and in really having that tells a lot about your story and where you guys come from. But it also is, you guys belong here. When you talk about those people that you talked about and you mentioned mindset, and you all are on that plane. You are the pioneers in this space right now. Well, and you guys are going to set what this industry looks like going forward in the future. And so just wanted to say congratulations. We know more is coming. And go ahead. I mean to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure that
tell them about what the jacket inspired.
So the jacket inspired. So everyone kept saying, "Oh, next year, Hunter, you're going to be in a full beach ball suit." And I was like, "We're going to make this happen." So we got home and we're doing a renovation to our office starting hopefully next week. And we've got some custom wallpaper order that we're going to do accent walls in the back room, and it's just going to be the beach ball, like the beach ball logo repeated, but the same company offers silk print. And so we have a sample coming, silk print fabric. And so next year at VRMA, Hunter may be walking around with a silk beach ball jacket with just beach balls all over it.
I think you go full suit.
Yeah.
Why not?
Full suit.
Full suit.
Well, and maybe I should have a matching dress. Like
I think 100%. You should. Absolutely. 100%. And then I have one request. Can I get the first I'm a beach baller t-shirt or sweatshirt?
Yes.
I need that.
We need to get some beach baller.
Need that in my life. So
I don't know why we haven't thought of that before. I'm a beach baller. I'm
a beach baller for sure. Yeah, I definitely need that in my life.
Oh yeah. Well, we're working on new shirts right now that will say VRMA, best vacation rental company in the country. And we have to add that best to it because most people won't know what VRMA is. So we have to explain if you're like, you ever heard of the American Bar Association? Oh yeah, that's the volumes, right? Same thing, but for vacation rentals. That's what it is. We're
working on that. Trust me. We're working on getting VRMA
work in progress.
Yeah, trust me. We know we're working on that for sure.
But talking about just renovation, and talking about scaling and everything we're doing. So I'm literally right now working with engineering. We're building a 4,000 square foot laundry facility up in Foley, Alabama, about 20 minutes up the road. And we're bringing cleaning in-house, awesome. the whole gamut. And we've talked about it. It's kind of funny. Like we're literally building that. And then you see Steve Milo on Home Runners talking about best decision I've made and the money. And I'm going like, so now everybody's going to be this meeting inspired thing. That's what they do. And I'm like, and I was doing this already. Like,
not everyone can do it.
The idea.
Like it's a great idea, but not everyone can do it. Right. And so it's, it's how do you do it, and how do you, and you have to be in a position, large enough to be able to afford it, to build it. It's, most of your competition can't do it yet. And so
one other thing I did want to mention while we're talking about professionalism and, bringing that to this industry, Travis Wilburn with the 100 collection, fortunate to meet him and Rebecca Lombardo. They are really doing that for our industry. And they talked a lot about it at the conference and how, 5-10 years ago, people would show up in like Hawaii shirts. And like this year, there were people with nice jackets, and like that professional aspect is, you want to keep the, mom and pop, quote unquote, part of the industry, but mom and pop can also be professional mom and pop. Mom and pop can come to a conference wearing a suit or dress well and present ourselves as business professionals, which is what we are.
I have a hard time all the time because most times in the office, I'm wearing a golf shirt, shorts, and flip flops. And she's like, for God's sakes, will you wear cover toed shoes? I'm like, for God's sakes, I'm at the beach.
Right.
So we go back and forth that. But like, it's funny. We went to this professional event probably 6 months or so ago. And I always wanted to just kind of wear jeans and like a sports coat. It's supposed to be cocktail. And she's like, no, you're going to wear khakis or slacks and you're going to dress up and you're going to wear. And I said, Ginger, I guarantee you there will be somebody at this event in shorts, or there'll be somebody in flip flops. And the bet was I got a boys weekend for 3 days in New Orleans if somebody actually showed up to a cocktail party in flip flops or shorts. Well, boys, I hit the trifecta. There was one guy in shorts and flip flops at the cocktail party. So
this is hospitality. The world we came from. Like when I went to my first VRMA, they looked at me like a fish out of water because I was so formal. And again, I think we're going to go with situationally appropriate because Ginger, I'm with you on the business side of things, but on the other side of it, it's hospitality. I don't know that that's ever going to die. Like some people in our industry don't wear shoes, and they're CEOs. They literally don't wear shoes ever. I don't know that dies. It'll be interesting though to see if it happens.
Well, I'm a jeans and sports kind of guy normally. That's how I like to nice jeans, sports coat, pocket square. Yeah. How I like to roll.
Well, we talking about how I dressed. I know a lot of people saw Ginger because I watched them all from behind her as they were all looking at her. I don't know if y'all saw the pink jumper she was wearing. I
chose to wear a bright pink Lily Pulsar jumpsuit when I sat on the panel because I want people to remember me, Absolutely. It's called peacocking, whatever. But yeah, I want to dress to impress, and I want people to say, oh, that's the woman that was wearing the pink jumpsuit on the panel, and her name was Ginger. Like,
and those are things, guys, that we just and take our horn here that we naturally see in marketing and branding. It's you're branding yourself constantly. You're putting yourself. Yeah, the red jacket. I knew it was going to draw attention. She knew the pink outfit was going to draw attention. I mean, you were wearing one outfit, that blue dress you wore. I mean, how many women came to you? I'm like, oh my God, your outfits this weekend have been just, to the nine. So, but we knew that people would remember that, and they would remember that dressed up couple, and oh yeah, they won that award. And, we knew that we're drawing attention to ourselves because we can handle the attention. Like that's how we're built. And, people ask all the time, when are y'all going to slow down? When are y'all going to, I'm like, probably never, because we would get bored. We're just high energy,
I have a problem with like people promoting like the hustle culture. Like I 100% work very hard, right? People deserve vacations and we sell vacations. So we want people to come on vacation. Like, but every single entrepreneur is, hustling all the time. But I don't think that you need to like get on LinkedIn or Facebook and like say your stats every day. I feel like that's a little cringy. Just wanted to throw that in there. I don't know. That's a little.
My kids are proud to use
it. Gives me more troll. I'm like, why are we like promoting like, oh, I'm the hardest working agent in the Gulf Coast? How do you know you're the hardest working? You don't know what someone's doing when they get home from work and after they put their kids to sleep. Like, just having that. Everyone that's successful works very hard, but you deserve time off, and you don't have to tell everyone how hard you work all the time. There's a free marketing tip.
There you go.
Love it.
I love the authenticity. Yeah.
we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us. There's going to be a link to your website. Please, let's a link to your event. We'll go ahead and put a link to the event on the website as well. If you are a fan of our podcast, do not forget to go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and give us a 5-star review and tell us why you like the show. We really, really appreciate that.
YouTube, like, listen, subscribe, hit notifications, all those fun things you kids do out there.
And thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations. And we're very, very excited to see where, what happens and when you hit 500, you're coming back on.
Sounds good.
Maybe sooner than you think.
Come have a ball with me.
If we're seeing you in 6 months, we're cool with that.
Yep.
Right.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for coming on.
This podcast is a Hospitality.fm production.